What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video on Electric Talks. It has been a long time since I posted a video on this channel. And just so you all know, I've actually recorded this video twice. So I put in the effort already, all right? But the first two times that I recorded this video, I didn't feel like it flowed right. I always whenever I do videos on this channel, I always feel like in pretty much every video, I always feel like I say whatever I need to say, but as soon as I finish the video, I'm like, dang, I probably should have said that. And I probably should have said that. I probably should have said that. So this is a video that happened with twice already. So hopefully I can convey everything the way I want to convey it in this video. So first of all, I just want to say thank you for clicking on this video and watching this video. I have a deep appreciation for all of the viewers on this channel because I feel like you all watch this channel for more than just a guy that does food challenges. You watch for more than all of that. Granted, I do think there are a lot of people that watch this channel that find this channel from my main channel and from my second channel and all that. But yeah, I just want to say thank you for watching this and for sticking around. Second thing I want to say before I get started in talking about what I'm going to talk about in this video is that everything that I talk about in this video, I am by no means giving any sort of medical advice. I'm not saying you should do what I have done or am doing. The things I'm obviously going to be talking about in this video have to do with the human body, my body, and all that. So I just wanted to get that out there first and foremost. Trying to figure out where I should start with this. The last 6 months have been incredibly hard on me. They've actually been probably the hardest 6 months of my life. I've had a lot of really dark days over the last 6 months, and I have felt like revamping this channel, like restarting this channel and, making more videos like this. But admittedly, it's been incredibly hard for me to find the motivation to make videos on this channel when I can barely find the motivation to keep my main channel going and my second channel and all that, just because of how hard it's been for me. A lot of you watching this right now probably are going to have different times where you found this channel, but in case you haven't known, I've been very public with my health over the years. I've done a lot of videos talking about my blood work. I've done a lot of videos talking about just what goes on behind the scenes, not even just on this channel, but even on my main channel before. So I've been very public about my health for a long time. I do have to say, whenever I talk about anything that's health related on the internet, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on social media, whether it's on whatever it is, I get a lot of people that try to correlate what I do with my food challenges with anything that goes on in my life that has to do with health. I've always kind of made the joke, if I tripped and fell and broke my leg tomorrow, someone would find a way to say that that's because of a food challenge. If you didn't do that food challenge the day before, you wouldn't have broken your leg. You would have been more clear in your head. You would have been able to see the curve, whatever it is. I think you can get the point. So my whole point in saying all of this is that what I'm going to talk about in this video is obviously going to be another one of this is going to be a health related video, and obviously are going to be a ton of people out there that are going to jump on the train and just say that it's just because of what you do, Eric. That may be true. It may also not be true. So hopefully I can talk about this and everyone can keep an open mind, but I just have to put that out there first and foremost. Really quickly, I want to just jump back to the beginning of 2020. I was starting to actually do more of the health videos on this channel, talk more about my just overall health, and things were actually not very good because I had been just starting to take endurance training more seriously. That had, after I did my first marathon in the beginning of 2020, I started to do more running. I started to do more just longer distance training, and I started to experience a lot of highs and lows. It's totally normal for people to go through highs and lows. It's a part of being a human being. But for me, I had really started to notice that these highs and lows were starting to last more than just a day. They were starting to last a few days. And when I would go into these lows, I don't even know why I said highs earlier, I just meant lows. So when I would go into these low points, I would start to feel very, almost like I was a different person. I've actually done this a lot. I would go into my notes and just write down exactly how I feel. I would have overwhelming amounts of fatigue. It's totally normal to be tired. I get that. But when it gets to the point where I could go out one day and run 20 miles and go to the gym and just carry on with my day just like normal, and then the next day I'd wake up and feel like I could barely walk up a flight of stairs without feeling like I was going to faint. Because I felt so exhausted. It just wasn't making sense, wasn't adding up at all. That's like the first and biggest primary thing that I started to notice when I would go into these low points. And so those low points carried on for like the second half of 2020. In 2021, those were happening pretty much, I would say, every month. And going into my Ironman, which happened in October, I was really afraid. I was really not sure if I was going to be able to actually complete this, because a deep part of me was like, okay, what if, you know, when it comes to be Ironman time, the week of the Ironman, what if one of those low points hits you and you're just not going to be able to pull through? And thankfully, I was able to get through that event. Even though I didn't perform the way that I wanted to perform, I was still able to push through it, and I'm really proud of myself for that. But yeah, and as soon as my Ironman was over, which was the last video that I made on this channel, everything took a big nosedive. And the low points that I had experienced in the first half of 2021 were just like nothing compared to what I was facing. Immediately started noticing that I was having very, very severe joint pain, primarily in my knee and my hip. The really like weird part for me about all of this is that when, you know, you have really bad joint pain when you're an athlete, it's usually something that's like acute. You know, you either like land on your foot wrong, you get hit by a car or something like that. Like something has to happen in order for you to have things cause the joint pain, unless it's like an overuse injury, which I was doing very little activity at the time. So an overuse injury wouldn't make any sense. So got an MRI done, and there was nothing at all that was wrong with my knee. There was nothing going on with my hip. So I was really lost as far as like what was going on with my joints. There was just nothing really making any sense. And so November happened, December, and I was going through these low points, like with deep fatigue, pretty much every other week. Trying to train was just, it was just impossible, because when I get into these low points, there's just no way that I'm able to actually make any like progress, because my body just my body's not physically able to have the strength to even walk up a flight of stairs. There's no point in me trying to run a marathon if I can't even walk up a flight of stairs, you know? So on top of all this, I am doing food challenges. Like, I'm a YouTuber that does that. And so I had to really figure out how to stay motivated to do that and also keep my health in check at the same time. So I was on my bike a lot. I was doing a lot of indoor training on my trainer. And so I was doing no running at the time. Got through December, and January came, and it just became almost unbearable. It felt like I was a completely different person. And so I had been ordering actually pretty much all of my blood work at the time. And so I reached out to the functional medicine doctor that I was working with, and we did another round of blood work, and then I did my first stool test. I'm just gonna say right now, if you guys don't like hearing about things like this that have to do with poop or urine or anything like that, if that disgusts you, this is probably not the video for you. But anyways, did my first stool test. That was super interesting. There's a lot of debate whether it's stool tests out there right now that you can actually order yourself are clinically relevant. I personally feel like there are a lot of things you can take away from those tests, but a lot of people seem to disagree, but that's not really the point here. But anyways, got the stool test done. I'm just really gonna mention the things that are just relevant to this video. Everything was great. My triglycerides were really good. My HbA1c was really good, which is a indicator for diabetes and pre-diabetes, so that was good. My red blood cell count was, I think that was good. That's always been on the lower side just because I'm an athlete, I'm doing a lot of training. Like, all the basic stuff was good. And then my thyroid levels came back, and I've had a history of hypothyroidism. And there's a marker that came back as high, and it showed that my TPO antibodies were elevated. And that's generally a sign of Hashimoto's disease. And that's not good at all. I've gotten my thyroid checked probably dozens of times over the years, and that number has never been high. So that was really scary for me. And then I got my CRP back. Your C-reactive protein is a measure of inflammation in your body, and that came back at 3.9, which is incredibly high. And I obviously took a stool test as well. And the stool test came back and showed a lot going on. The main things were that I had a very high level of gut inflammation. There's a level called calprotectin. Calprotectin is a marker of inflammation in your intestines. It measures the amount of inflammation down there. The next level that came back was my zonulin levels were very high as well. What that basically means is that I have some intestinal permeability going on. I hate this term, but there's this term out there called leaky gut. That's basically what that means. And the biggest thing that came back on the stool test was candida. And candida is a fungal overgrowth. A lot of people think of like candida and like yeast infections and then kind of like correlate that with women. Because women obviously get yeast infections, but we all have candida in our bodies. It's normal. But when it gets to be like an overgrowth of candida, it's definitely not good at all. So I got this stool test back and I'm seeing all these things and I'm like, wow, this is kind of starting to make a lot of sense. I'm starting to connect the dots here. So after that, my functional medicine doctor ordered a SIBO breath test. And what SIBO stands for is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So with the SIBO breath test, you are essentially trying to figure out if you have an overgrowth of bacteria in your small intestine. Most of the bacteria in your body, the bacteria that you want at least, you want it in your large intestine. But when you have an overgrowth of the bacteria, it can get into your small intestine, which is not good at all. So what you essentially do is you breathe into a bunch of tubes. Well, you drink a solution. I did a lactulose breath test. So I drank this lactulose solution and for 3 hours and in 20-minute increments, I would breathe into a tube and basically it's measuring how much methane or hydrogen is on your breath. And if there's a bunch of it on your breath at a certain time increment, it's going to tell you where the solution is being fermented in your digestive system, basically. And if it's being fermented is probably not the word, whatever, I'm just going to go with fermented. And if it's being fermented at a certain point, I believe like under 60 minutes, it's your small intestine. And if it's above a certain threshold, that means you have a bacterial overgrowth. So mine, I believe, was above 20 within the first like 20 or 40 minutes, which suggested that I'm positive for SIBO. Yeah, that's not good. And so my functional medicine doctor that I was working with basically just goes, okay, well, we're gonna put you on a supplement called Candibactin AR and BR. Also, you're gonna take a GI binder, which basically with the whole, I could really get into a lot of this, but what the strategy was is basically to throw a bunch of herbal antimicrobials at whatever was going on, and you nuke all of that stuff out of your body and you take something called activated charcoal. There's also a lot of other stuff you can take as well as far as a binder goes. You're trying to get these toxins out of your body, but you need something like an activated charcoal to bind all of these things as it is eliminated from your body so you can get it fully out of your body. So, and he basically just goes, take this stuff 3 times a day and we'll test it again in 6 weeks. So I felt like this kind of wasn't like the best method. My whole thing is if I'm gonna do something like this, I wanna do it right. I want to get this out of my system and I want to be done with it. And unfortunately with Candida, with SIBO, with a lot of these like gut issues that people seem to have, a lot of people have a really high reoccurrence rate. A lot of people are cured and then it just comes back. And so I actually started seeing another functional medicine doctor, and this person actually recommended for me to actually do this protocol, but also other things as well that were thrown in the mix. So it was like a more of a beefed up protocol. If you guys are still watching up to this point and you want to know more about this, you want me to talk more about digestion, just let me know down below. I guess like just comment digestion down below and I can make a follow-up video to this if you all want to see that. So yeah, I did this protocol for almost 8 weeks. I was on this stuff. The main 2 things that I noticed, well, I should say the main few things that I noticed were I was nauseous all the time. And I don't really deal with nausea on like a very frequent basis. I mean, in challenges where I eat a bunch of ice cream or I have dairy or whatever it is, like I'm totally used to feeling nauseous, but like I do not like throwing up. I don't like being nauseous. It's just, I don't think anybody likes it, but it got to the point where I was just getting nauseous. Like I would just wake up and feel nauseous. And I just had to just get through it. Even on days where I was not doing food challenges, whatever it was, I would just feel nauseous. And then it got to the point where I would have dinner or just a regular meal and I would just get nauseous and I would just throw up. There was nothing I could do. I just felt like I was nauseous all the time. My theory is just because I was taking all these herbal like things that my body wasn't used to, I just felt like nauseous all the time. Like I was doing I do a food challenge every single week, and I mean, for quite a few of them, I definitely threw up afterwards, like, and that sucks because once again, I'm not a person that, it's not like I get grossed out when people around me are throwing up, but it just like, I don't like being nauseous at all, and I don't like dealing with throwing up. It's gross to me and all of that, so I had to deal with that. Obviously, it's not self-induced, but it was something that I had to deal with. And on top of that, I would say just like actually taking these supplements were just like really hard on my body because they're very like potent, they're very like strong. My overall fatigue and my energy levels, like a lot of people take these supplements and they feel like super good at first, and a lot of people feel terrible at first. I didn't really notice too much of a change. I just felt terrible. I shouldn't actually say I felt terrible. I felt very like low energy for most of the 8 weeks. I would say like I did have a few, like 3 or 4 couple of days where I felt really good, but like I knew subconsciously, like it just wasn't like I knew I should feel. During this time, feel like whatever was going on with me was just really being manifested. Like it was really showing a lot more. I really started to have issues with my vision. Like I was not able to like see anything. I started feeling like I'm gonna use the D word, probably bleep it out, but my vision was coming back. I just had like overwhelming just like feelings of just apathy towards pretty much everything. Like I said at the very beginning of this video, like the past 6 months have been really hard. But in general, like ever since I really started dealing with these low points, like I haven't been myself. I feel like, before I go on anymore with this, just like apologize to, like my friends and, my followers, like the people that support me, because like, even if it's like somebody on my personal IG sending me a message just going like, dude, way to crush it today. You did really good on that bike ride. Like I've always been like one to just be like, reply back and be like, dude, thank you so much for the support or whatever it is. But like, I've been very recluse over the last 6 months. I've been very just almost, I feel like locked away within myself. It's been very hard for me to convince myself that like I should be around other people or that I should talk to other people, because I feel like I just haven't been myself. So it's been very hard for me to like show more of myself like this, But anyways, I ended up finishing the 8 weeks on this protocol, and the first week that I was off of this stuff, I literally felt like I could do anything. I felt completely like just awesome, mainly physically. A lot of the psychological stuff of just like that I had been feeling, that stuff was still happening. But like I literally, the first week I went out and ran like 33 miles at once. And I hadn't done that since like in over a year. And just like a lot of the physical strength that I knew I was capable of, I could do again. I had my levels rechecked, and the good news was I saw all the levels, pretty much every single marker of yeast, fungal overgrowth or whatever it is, that dropped significantly, which was really, really good, because a lot of people will just watch this video, for example, and be like, I knew it, Eric. It was the food challenges. Food challenges, just like, that's your problem. So what that said to me is that the food challenges definitely aren't helping, but I am capable of still being able to do my job. And at the same time, I can lessen whatever's going on in my body, whether it's the candida, whether it's the SIBO, whatever it is. I'm still capable of doing this and also fixing that at the same time. It may not ever be 100% optimal, but I can actually work on that. I got 2 tests done. They're called organic acids tests. I got one done before all this started, before all the protocols and everything, and then I got one done after, and it showed a very drastic change and everything went down. But also, it's still in my system, or I should say it was in my system, because it's been 2 months now and I feel very good. I feel the best that I've felt in a long time, and I'm not taking any of the herbal stuff anymore. I am now just doing what works best for me. That's kind of just what I needed to discover, because like, unfortunately, like a lot of people watch this video, I would say most of you will watch this video and have not dealt with what I've had to deal with. But there are a few of you that have most likely dealt with issues like this in your life. And unfortunately, when it comes down to things like this, like what I've been dealing with, there are a ton of just like an absolutely ridiculous amount of people out there online that try to sell you bullshit. They try to sell you like, guarantee, like if you search a SIBO online, you're gonna get a bunch of people claiming to be experts that have these podcasts and guides and whatever it is. And at the very end, it's, oh, just buy my supplement, you know, because my supplement is the best and it's going to fix you. It's going to do it. It's like, it's hard to find genuine people out there that actually want to help you. So most of this stuff I had to kind of figure out myself. But anyways, the whole point is of me making this video is that it's been a crazy past few months, but I am really looking forward to making more videos like this now because I'm in a better spot. I have a lot of motivation back, especially because my next Ironman is in September this year. I signed up for it a few months ago when I was having a really good week, and then the next week I went back into a low point. I'm like, whoa, what did I get myself into? But my next Ironman is happening. It's in September of this year. It's in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I'm going to do the best that I can, and I'm going to document more of my training on this channel. Once again, my whole point with making this video is that I just want to let you all know that I am still here. I was really nervous for a while because I felt like I had a really, really big problem, and I may be out of a job. I may have to quit YouTube. I may have to just figure out another way to make a living. But thankfully, I didn't have to do all that. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of other things that I probably haven't said that I'm just gonna forget and be like, oh, I should have just mentioned that. So if you guys have any questions, be sure to leave them down below. Anyways, everyone, if you made it up to this point, just comment blue down below because my background's pretty blue. How about that? But anyways, everyone, love you guys very much. I will see you guys in the next video. Later.